Good morning, everyone. Myself Mahima Laharia from VB Sangas, Vijayanagara College, Hospate, guest faculty in the Department of the Chemistry. Today I will explain the ligand field theory or molecular orbital theory of the coordination compounds. This topic belongs to the MSc Chemistry second semester in inorganic chemistry. So now let us start the topic. We have already discussed about the crystal field theory. What about the crystal field theory? We all know that crystal field theory is based upon the bonding between the positively charged metal atom and the negatively charged ligands. We all know crystal field theory explains the metal ligand bonding to be purely 100% ionic in nature. But there are many evidences which says that the metal ligand bonding is not ionic in nature, but there are many complexes where they see in the covalent bonding also. So what are the evidences which suggest that this crystal field theory not only purely 100% in nature, some part of the covalent bonding is also involved there. So let us see our first. Some of the ESR spectra of the complexes explains the covalent bonding in the complexes. Similarly, the NMR spectra of the complexes also show the presence of the covalent bonding in the complexes. Similarly, our NQR spectra also gives some evidences for the presence of the covalent bonding. Then our Naploggetic effect also explains the presence of the covalent bonding in the complexes, and the G factor also gives some evidences for the presence of the covalent bonding in the complexes. So on the basis of the above evidences, some of the scientists, chemists, Cotton Wilkinson have modified this theory, this concept of the crystal field theory, and they called this new concept as a ligand field theory or the molecular orbital theory. So now let us see the detail. Cotton and Wilkinson have called the LFT as an adjusted crystal field theory. LFT explains the covalent bonding with the help of LCAO concept, or we can say that our linear combination of the atomic orbitals. As we have already learned in the previous classes, what is the linear combination of atomic orbital? Then the concept of the molecular orbital theory together with the principles of the group theory helps to explain the covalent bonding in the complexes. Means in the ligand field theory, we have to put together the concept of the molecular orbital theory and the principles of the group theory. Group theory, I hope all the students are knowing what is the groups. We are studying separately this chapter in the physical chemistry, and with the help of the ligand field theory, the complexes of octahedral complexes, tetrahedral complexes and the square planar complexes can be explained. But today's lecture is mainly focused on the explaining the octahedral complexes. Octahedral complexes have the group denoted as OH, and now we can have a look how we are going to explain the ligand field theory with the help of the LCAO concept. Just have a revision. Now I will explain the example of our hydrogen atom. As we all know, if we take an hydrogen molecule, H2 is made up of two hydrogen atom. We can say this as A hydrogen and another as a B hydrogen. So both these are having one electrons. So there are one s orbital for the hydrogen A, and this we can say this is for the hydrogen B. So when the two atomic orbitals overlap with each other, because this ligand field theory is totally based upon the concept of the molecular orbital theory, means when the two atomic orbitals combine together, means overlap together, they will form two molecular orbitals, out of which one is bonding molecular orbital and other is anti-bonding molecular orbital. So we can see this, when these two orbitals overlap with each other, what's the main thing here? They should be similar in energy and their symmetry should match us, then only the overlapping is possible. So As a result of overlapping of the two atomic orbitals, two molecular orbitals are formed, and these two molecular orbitals are, one is termed as the bonding molecular orbitals and other is termed as the anti-bonding molecular orbital. Generally we are writing a star on the anti-bonding molecular orbital, and this is the energy bar which shows that which are lower, the bonding molecular orbitals are lower in energy and anti-bonding molecular orbitals are higher in energy. This leads in the formation of the hydrogen molecule, and we also know how to calculate the bond order. It is the number of bonding electrons minus the number of anti-bonding electrons divided by 2. So, one s is having one electron, other also having one electron. Both these overlap. S orbital is having a spherical symmetry, so they can easily overlap with each other, and these electrons, when they will overlap, it will be 2. So they are filled first in the bonding molecular orbital, and the anti-bonding molecular orbital is empty here. Now we can see just if the wave functions of the two atomic orbitals combines in the two way. First, if they undergo the addition, they will form the bonding molecular orbitals, and if they will go the subtractions, they will form the anti-bonding molecular orbital. So this is the concept of the molecular orbital theory we are studying in our degree classes, or we can say in the PU standard. But what changes in the PG? Actually, it comes to the geometry of the complexes, to the how we study the complexes. So in place of the atomic orbitals, we have to take the metal orbitals, and in place of these atomic orbitals, we will take our ligand orbitals. I'll explain in details. So the formation of the metal complex will takes place. Thank you. Now let us see in the octahedral complexes. According to the molecular orbital theory, the metal ligand bonding results by the overlapping of atomic orbitals of the central metal atom with the ligand sigma orbitals. So now we will see that how it goes. So the formation of the 6 metal ligand sigma bonds will take place as follows. Transition metals, all the transition metals, their valence shell will have NS, NP, and -1d configuration. So it will be written as similarly. I already talked about 4s, 4px, 4py. All these 9 orbitals will be there, and for the octahedral complex formation, they undergo either D2sp3 hybridization or sp3d2 hybridization. But here only the 6 atomic orbitals of the metals are involved, and they will combine with the 6 ligand orbitals to form the sigma bonding. Now we can just talk about our all these 9 orbitals. As I already told, we have to take the concept of the group theory here. So all these 9 orbitals had been classified into the 4 groups. So now let us see 4s, or we can say the s orbital, as it is singly degenerate set. So we are allotting it as the group A1G. Now P, we talk about the p orbital. There's triplet degenerate set, and they are having 3 orbitals, px, py, and the pz, and the symmetry is assigned as T1u. Now we talk about the d orbital. So the d orbitals is split into 2 groups, that is doubly degenerate set, means 2 orbitals having the same energy level. So it is denoted as Eg or small eg. Similarly, the dxy, dz, and dzx orbitals are represented by the T2G group, that is the triply degenerate set. So the G here represents the graded symmetry, and U represents the ungraded symmetry. Now let us just have a look. So we can just say, as we are taking the complex CONH3 whole 6, 3 plus the valence shell is 4. So its 4s is represented by A1G symmetry, 4px, 4py, 4pz, it is T1u. 3dx square minus y square, 3dz square is represented by Eg, 3dxy, 3dyz, 3dzx is represented by T2G. Means these 2 orbitals are belonging to the group Eg, these 3 orbitals belongs to the group T1u, and these 3 will belong to the group T2G. Now let us see what about the ligand orbital. The ligand orbitals we can just represent, as there are 6 ligands, so we can represent a ligand in this way, and on the x, y and z axis it will have either plus x plus y plus z, and it will have its own opposite side. It will have minus x, minus y and minus z. So we can say that in an octahedral complexes, 6 sigma orbitals of the ligands approaches the metal axis from where it will, so the axis of metals are represented as plus x plus y plus y, plus x plus y minus y plus z minus z, and the ligand can be represented as sigma x, sigma minus x, sigma y, sigma minus y, sigma z and sigma minus z. So these 6 ligand sigma orbitals will overlap with those metal orbitals which will have their lobe along the axis. Means the overlapping is only possible when the axis of the ligand sigma orbital will match with the atomic orbitals of the metal. Now 6 ligand sigma orbitals in an octahedral complexes are represented as above. So we will see, first we have talked about the atomic orbitals and then we have talked about the ligand orbitals. Now we have to see how this formation of the molecular orbitals takes place here. So in this complex CONH3 whole 6 3 plus octahedral complexes, we know it is a low spin complex and the ammonia is a strong ligand. So the overlapping of 4s, 4px, 4py, 4pz, 3dx square minus y square and 3dz square will takes place with the ligands orbitals, and 3dxy, 3dyz, 3dzx will not take part in the sigma bonding. As they are, we all know these orbitals are known as the non-axial orbitals, as their lobes lies in between the axis. So the T2G orbitals are known as the non-bonding orbitals. The non-bonding orbitals can overlap sidewise with or filled or unfilled pi orbitals of the same ligands to form the metal ligand pi bonds or the pi molecular orbitals. Simply we can say that these T2G orbitals 3dxy, 3dyz and 3dzx, they are not participating in the bond formation, sigma bonding. So they are just told as the pi, they are useful for the pi bonding. But today's concept, we are just only stuck to the sigma bonding. And these orbitals can be represented as pi d, or we can write in this manner, in bracket, or d pi orbitals. Or we can also write that like that, pi xy equals to pi z, as they are sitting on the same energy level, so their energies are equal. Now the LCA overlapping of the 6 ligand sigma orbitals with the atomic molecular orbital ions can be explained with the help of their diagrams. Now we can see how the overlapping of the molecular orbitals with the ligand orbitals takes place. So as we know the 4s orbitals, what is the shape of the s orbital? It is spherical in shape. So we can say that as the 4s orbital has the same sign in all the directions, so the ligand sigma orbitals can overlap with the 4s orbital as follows. So now here I will show you the diagram how the 4s orbitals is represented. So you can see here the 4s orbital is spherical in shape and it will overlap with the ligand orbitals. This is the ligand orbital, as already I show the diagram on the x-axis, y-axis, z-axis. So these two orbitals both are having the 4s, what group we have assigned it as A1G, and the ligand orbital is also having this A1G symmetry. So they can overlap with each other, and after overlapping they will form the two orbitals. One will be your bonding molecular orbital and other will be the anti-bonding molecular orbital. So now we can say that the 4s orbitals, sigma orbitals can overlap with the 4s atomic orbitals, and the normalization factor sigma is given as represented as summation A equals to sigma x plus sigma minus x plus sigma y plus sigma minus y plus sigma plus z plus sigma minus z. And I already told sigma is a normalization constant, and it's for the 4s orbitals, its value is 1 by under root 6 sigma x plus sigma minus x plus sigma minus y plus sigma minus y plus sigma z plus sigma minus z. Means for 3 of x's we have to write ones for plus and one for the minus. As we all know, at the lobes have one is filled with the plus sign and other have the negative sign. So this sigma a, summation a is having the symmetry A1G, means these will same symmetry, they will undergo the overlapping with the atomic orbital. Means we represent our ligand orbital with the summation A and it is having the symmetry A1G. Now we can say next one. Now let us see the case of the our T1U group, means p orbitals. So the one lobe of the p orbital has plus and the other lobe has the negative sign. So their combination is represented as follows. So I had drawn the diagram of the px, py and the pz. So we can say that the sigma orbitals of the ligand will overlap with the atomic orbitals of the metal, means when they will have the same axis, means x will overlap with the x-axis. So px, py and pz are represented as follows. The values as they are having on the x-axis, one is plus, other is minus. So minus x minus sigma x minus sigma minus x. So their normalization values are given as follows. Sigma x is equals to 1 by under root 2 sigma x minus sigma x. Now similarly for the py also we will write sigma y minus sigma minus y, and the summation y equals to 1 by under root 2 sigma y minus sigma minus y. So for the z also we will have the same value, and summation z equals to 1 by under root 2 sigma z minus sigma minus z, and all these three are belonging to the symmetry group T1U. So these are the three cases, first for the our 4s orbital, then for the our 4p orbital. Now let us see for the our 3d orbitals. So as we already discussed, our 6 orbitals which are going to take part in the bond formation are 4s, 4p and Eg orbitals, means Eg which all belongs, we all know, 3d x square minus y square and 3d z square. So in 3d x square minus y square orbital, one opposite pair, means there will be 2 plus and the 2 minus sign. So for this we will have the normalization constant value as summation x square minus y square equals to 1 by 2 sigma x plus sigma minus x minus sigma minus y minus sigma minus y. 2 times we will have to write for the x and another 2 times we will have to write for the y. So the symmetry allotted is Eg here. Similarly for the 3d z square, it's quite difficult. So generally we can just have the values as summation z square is equals to 1 by under root 2 under root 3 into 2 sigma x plus 2 sigma minus z minus sigma x minus sigma minus x minus sigma y and minus sigma minus y. So thus finally our linear combination of the molecular orbitals of the metal, atomic orbitals of the metal and the ligand will takes place. Now we will see how we can represent the molecular orbital energy diagram for the complexes. It's a big topic, so I hope you must have some patience. Now once we can see the diagram, as already we have studied this diagram in the such type of diagram in our previous classes. So first we are making one energy bar. So the orbital which is in the lower end, it is having the less energy, and which is upper in the level, it will have higher energy. So now we can see this diagram. First see here, on this axis our 3d orbitals are drawn this is our 4s orbital, this is our 4p orbital. As we all know, the 4p orbital have the point group T1u, 4s is allotted A1g, and 3d we know it is split into two group. One 3dxy, yz and zx are known as T2g, and z square and x square minus y square are known as EG. So now we can say that there are total 3 plus 1, 4 and 5, 9 orbitals. They will undergo overlapping with the ligand orbitals to form the molecular orbitals. Means we can say that on the left hand side we are representing the atomic orbitals of the metal ion. On the right hand side we are drawing the ligand orbitals, and in the center, by the overlapping of the atomic orbitals of the metal and the ligand orbitals, the molecular orbitals are formed. So just now firstly we discussed now if their symmetry matches, then only the overlapping is possible. Now let us see here. 4s and the 4s and the summation A have the symmetry A1g. Means our 4s is A1g symmetry, and here you can see the ligand orbitals are 6. So summation A ligand orbitals will overlap with each other to form two orbitals, one sigma s bonding molecular orbital and other one sigma s anti-bonding molecular orbital. Means there will be the formation of one bonding molecular orbital and one anti-bonding molecular orbital. Similarly, we can talk about the 4px atomic orbital will overlap with the ligand orbital summation x. Both have T1u symmetry and they will form one bonding molecular orbital and one anti-bonding molecular orbital. Similarly, 4py and the summation y both will have T1u symmetry. They will overlap to form one sigma y bonding molecular orbital and one sigma y anti-bonding molecular orbital. Similarly, 4pz and summation z both have the T1u symmetries. They will overlap to form one sigma z bonding molecular orbital and one sigma z anti-bonding molecular orbital. Then 3dz square and summation square both have the EG symmetry. They will overlap to form one EZ square bonding molecular orbital and one EZ square anti-bonding molecular orbital. Last, 3d x square minus y square and summation z x square minus y square orbital of the ligand both have the symmetry EG. They will overlap to give one sigma x square minus y square bonding molecular orbital and one sigma x square minus y square anti-bonding molecular orbital. So we can see here in the diagram, T1u will overlap with the XYZ orbitals of the ligand with T1u symmetry. 4s with A1g symmetry will overlap with the ligand A1g symmetry orbital, that is summation A, and our z square and x square minus y square with EG symmetries will overlap with the these EG symmetries orbital of the ligand. And here, as we are seeing the diagram, these electrons are shifted here. So we will have three orbitals, means 3dxy, 3dyz and 3dzx. These two electrons are promoted to the yz and zx orbital. So we are having two electrons in each orbitals, and these xy, yz and zx orbitals T2g are non-bonding molecular orbitals, as they will take part in the pi bonding. So we have written them pi d, and the symmetry is T2g. Okay, so now we can just have a look. Our 4s, 4px, 4py, 4pz, 3dx square minus y square and 3dz square will overlap with the ligand sigma A, summation A, summation x, summation y, summation z, summation x square minus y square and summation z square ligand orbitals to form total. Hello friends, now let us see how the molecular orbitals of the ligands will overlap with the atomic orbitals of the metal atom. So here first we can see this is our 4s orbitals with A1g symmetry, and this is the ligand orbitals. so they will overlap, and the normalization factor value is 1 by root 6, and sigma x plus sigma minus x plus sigma y plus sigma minus y plus sigma z and plus sigma minus z. Similarly, for Eg orbitals means 3d z square and 3d x square, we can show the overlapping between the atomic orbital of the metal and the atomic orbital of the ligand, and the values is as given here. So the 3d x square minus y square, there they also will overlap with the ligand orbital, and the values are given as below. If you want to take a screenshot, you can take, because it's a very lengthy. So next we can see our T1U symmetry orbitals, that is Px, Py and the Pz will also overlap with the ligand orbital similarly, and they also will have their normalization constant values as follows. For the Pz, the normalization constant value is summation z equals to 1 by under root 2 sigma z minus sigma I z, and for the x it will be x here, and for the y the values will be in the terms of the y-axis. So these orbital diagrams, again if you want to take a screenshot, you can take a screenshot of it. Now we can conclude that we had seen here our 6 orbitals of the metal atom combines with the 6 orbitals of the ligand. As we know, there are 6 ammonia ligands, and each ammonia contributes 2 electrons to the empty orbital of the metal. So total 12 electrons are contributed by the ammonia and 6 electrons of the metal. So total we will have 18 electrons. So we will fill this electron in the increasing order of their energy, 2, 6, and here it will be 4. It is here 12, and we know our T2G symmetry orbital, that is 3dxy, 3dyz and 3dzx, they are not parting in the bond formation, so they will remain as a non-bonding electrons. They will take part in the pi bonding. So we can see the diagram. This is our bonding 4s orbital, these are our bonding 4p orbital, and this is our Eg orbital. This is non-bonding orbitals. These are anti-bonding orbitals, means this is our sigma x star x square minus y square, this is sigma star z square, this is sigma star 4s, and this is our sigma star 4px, 4py and 4pz respectively. Now students, I would like to tell you one thing. Actually this molecular energy diagram, molecular orbital diagram, is for the low spin octahedral complexes, and in this diagram we only consider the sigma bonding, we don't consider the pi bonding here. So I have classified that our octahedral complexes can be in 2 categories, that is those which are bonded with the strong ligand, those which are bonded with the weak ligand and having the high spin. So for the strong ligand, I have already explained with the example CuNH3 3 plus, and if for the weak ligand high spin octahedral complex, the example is COF6 3 minus, and the diagram I am showing you here from the Madan Tuli book. So if you want to take the screenshot, those who are not having the textbook, they can take the screenshot of this book. And one more thing I want to let you know, that you can also refer the Hui textbook. As we discussed earlier, the octahedral point group has the following symmetry elements. If you want to take a screenshot, you can take from it. So these 2 books I referred for your our inorganic chemistry by James E. Hui and the Madan Tuli book. So I think this much is sufficient for you all. If you are having any doubt, you can ask me. Thank you, and if you like the video, please share.